So this is session 2 of 4. We're playing 7th Sea. It is the second edition of that game. We are playing in the Crescent Empire setting. This is the fantastical analog for the Middle East as a whole. Not just Arab countries, but it also includes the Holy Land and all the way over to the sort of Persian. This is a really smartly done book. It is an empire that's joined together. There are 5 different nations. There has been an overturning of the previous leader just a few years ago in favor of a more progressive one, and that has created a whole set of tensions within this area. We started last session. We did character creation with some from the pre-gen, some connections, and then we played out a scene that ended with a river being let loose. But that's its whole thing. We'll come back to that. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com if you're interested in that. You can also check out my blog at ageofravens.blogspot.com. I have some material I've posted about 7th Sea there. So if you're interested in this game system, I've got some bits and pieces there that are worth checking out. But we are going to start, and I'm going to frame where our heroic characters are. We're going today to move them on from the events of last time. Each of them has an experience story, so those things are all going to come to bear tonight, because that is a predictable thing that the game has the players put out there as very specific flags, and we're going to get those on the table. So last time, this group of heroes traveled and were searching for the villain that has crossed all of them. And that villain is named Ibn Majhul. And Ibn Majhul, gender unknown, master of disguise. Ibn Majhul means the faceless. And he, she, they have caused problems for all members of this group. And in fact, when we come to you, Stephen, we'll ask you what happened with your encounter with Ibn Majhul. The group, the PCs, found out that he had an associate named Master Zion, who had information. And so they broke into Master Zion's estate and were able to break into his vault and steal that information, but at the same time found a magic item that they then set off in their escape that flooded the house, and sent everyone hurtling out into the sidelines. But the group did not then immediately take off. They returned because servants and innocents had been injured in this, and they provided medical attention. And after that, were able to convince the guards that were there that they were simply passersby. And then they took off with the papers in tow, even as they heard Master Zion screaming at his guards for their incompetence. So they have some information on Ibn Majhul, in particular a name in Iskandar, the capital of Anatol I, which is where they are headed, because that person should be another link on the chain to find out, if not where the villain is, then where their operations are in the city, so they can make a strike against them. Our various characters have some different agendas. We'll come back to that in a moment. So let's have them introduce themselves, our three existing characters, and then we'll come to our 4th character. So Christo, can I have you please introduce your character, Roshan?
That's right. Everything's alphabetical in Hangouts, isn't it?
I switch it around sometimes.
Okay, yes, I'm playing Roshan Navid Alinjad, or Alinjad, I guess, probably. He's from Persis. He is a hunted rebel turned tomb raider, and he's an incurable romantic. Meaning it's not that he's always hitting on people, it's that he thinks that seeing love have a chance is a beautiful thing, and he'll do what he can to support it. And that's actually how he got involved with Ibn Mathula, or how that one arranged a devastating love triangle where all three people ended up being killed. And so that is Rashan's interest in finding this person and bringing them to justice. He's basically, how would you describe him? He's pretty much a thief type, although he doesn't think of it as thieving, of course. It's so maybe it's freeing objects to be in better places. And he may be the person that jumps into things a little head first. And he likes to be flashy. So things to bear in mind.
And your story right now, while you are seeking revenge against Ibn Mahjul, there is an item that Mahjul or his agent has that you wish to liberate. What is that item?
What is that item? And they could be magical, couldn't they?
Yep.
Okay. Well, knowing his nature, I want to say that it is a brooch of second glances. And so this brooch is something that the wearer, when trying to make a first impression, can have a second chance. It will help them look more flattering, or more make people more inclined to trust them or listen to them, for not anything totally dramatic, but for those awkward people trying to introduce themselves and meet new people, it makes it easier.
That seems excellent to me. So that is the thing that you wish to return, and we'll ask who the rightful owner is when all of that is said and done. Next, we have Maria. Maria, can you tell us about Zev?
My character is Zev Benchaim Mshevet Ram. He is from Yachidi, which is the 7C equivalent of Israel. So he is a pugilist and a doctor, so that's kind of badass. His story is to find a sacred text and translate it.
And it was a magical text, right?
Yes. Yeah, we've decided that it was a magical text. He is both humble and arrogant at the same time. We don't know how. But he knows pressure points and all that stuff. And he is medically trained, and he's also fights with his bare hands. So so that's his main deal. He's a stoic badass, basically.
And I like the thing you kind of suggested last time with that humble, arrogant, that he wants to be humble, but his instincts are to be arrogant.
I think Christo suggested that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember who did. I think it was Christo.
All right. Let's come over to Musina bint Pinar. Victor, please tell us about your character.
Well, my character used to be a pirate until that kind of fell through. Pretty much a scout, kind of working kind of for hire, and also kind of that ties into their story a bit. Her story happens to be, or her story happens to be, she's tracking down her former captain. She was rather attached to that captain, and when the pirate gig fell through, it was to the detriment of the whole crew. And at this point, the captain has vanished, and I am in search of my captain.
And you're pretty certain that Majhul had something to do.
Somehow, yeah.
Excellent. And you've got both humble as your virtue, and then timid, where you're trying not to take credit for things that you do, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, my quirks are kind of self-sacrificing type thing on top of kind of a curiosity. So I kind of picture kind of altruistic when it comes to the people around her.
Okay.
She'd rather not take the limelight when there's benefit to seeing somebody else do a thing.
That seems perfectly fine. Yeah, one of the things is that they've got the humble, but this is the humble from Pirate Nations. So I don't know why they didn't change the name if it's a different text on the effect. So there are two different humbles in the account.
Oh, okay.
That's what's going on with that.
So it's just, yeah, that's why that was gonna be my question. Like, why is there two different humbles? So, okay.
All right. So Stephen, are you in good shape where you think you can tell us about your character?
Yeah, I am playing Kava Aisun bint Destia, a reformed guerrilla turned escort guard from the nation of Anatol. I thinking she grew up in a small village in the mountains, and Ibn Mashhul hired a large group of bandits to raid the village. They looted the village temple and took away a number of prisoners, and sort of in the aftermath, there was a certain amount of disorder in the region. So she was taking to the hills and fighting against the outlaw bands that sort of splintered off this whole operation. There may have been more to it than just the part of it that she saw, but I mean, her boyfriend, in fact, was one of the prisoners taken in the raid, and she has recently learned that he is actually working now for Ibn Mashhul. So her mission now is to find him and persuade him to leave Ibn Mashhul's service.
How old was he when he was taken?
We were both 17.
Okay.
And this was about 5 years ago.
Okay. Tell us about your quirks and your arcana.
Okay, my quirks. I earn a hero point when I involve myself in a conflict solely for the glory it will bring, and I earn a hero point when I resort to the edge of my blade to defend a noble ideal. So, I'm thinking this is basically Tessa Thompson from Ragnarok.
All right.
This is my reputation as a dangerous drunkard.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've noticed that I've got a background which is Kurtanglu, and I don't know what that means.
Basically, Kurtanglu are that's where the sort of the guerrilla comes from. Essentially, you fought in the text. There are people who fought against different factions over time. So it's just the background option. I like how you've described the guerrilla. So that's just the set for it. Don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Let's see. My virtues. I am altruistic. I can activate my virtue to suffer a risk consequence in place of another hero. But I am also indecisive. I get a hero point when I take an action to basically do nothing, pause in hesitation, doubt, or uncertainty before making a move.
There's a classic one. Any questions about any of your advantages there?
No, I read through them. One thing to mention is that I am a duelist. I've got a special move called the Mubarizdun Shock, which can basically demoralize a whole group of opponents at once. Anybody who sees it is much less effective the next time they attack.
That is a nice one. So we're going to start with the assumption that you have worked with the others before. You've all shared common cause. What was it that kept you from being with them when they went to raid this house of Master Xian?
Well, I was out of town. I work as a caravan guard, and in fact, I was in another city when I heard about my old boyfriend, and I took the most direct route to where he is, which it takes me to this city, where I will presumably run into the others. And by some incredible coincidence, we will all end up going to the same location.
Of course, of course. It certainly makes sense that if you've had some communication before, that through various friends and such, you can meet them on the road to Iskandar. Yes.
Also, I have an advantage called Extended Family, which I can spend a hero point to reveal that I have a distant cousin who lives nearby and can help also with materials, information, or shelter. So that can help if I do that.
Yeah, and certainly that'll be useful in Iskandar when we get there for you to pull that out. And to answer your question, Christo, yes, you would have recovered from your dramatic wound. We've had enough time in between the sessions.
So how does recovery work then?
Well, right now, I just wave my hand and you recover all your hit points. There are some mechanics for doing that in play. As a doctor, you're able to do it much more quickly on the fly.
Okay.
What has happened is this, you have reached, all four of you, Iskandar, you have paths have crossed, details have been given. It looks to you like Ibn Majhul clearly has some kind of, if not his own operation, that there is someone else running an operation for them or handling it. Like there's just clearly a central point for them. And a lot of this is in code, but you found a name and you have tracked it back to a man who is an inspector of various market stalls and merchant houses. He is an official of the government, and he has a name, Nasir ibn Asad. That doesn't matter because everyone calls him the Smiling Cur, because he is the one who comes in and taxes the merchants and so on. And you know that he has some connection to the agents or the operations for Ibn Majhul in the city, which brings us to this moment. When we come in on the camera on this site here, the four of you are there. Musina, what are you doing to the Smiling Cur?
Okay, so we're already in contact with him?
Yes, you have him. You have him grabbed up. Is he tied to a chair? Is he hanging over a balcony? Is he dunked underwater? Is he cornered in a coffee shop? Is it a polite conversation? Where are we when we come in and you've cornered this person?
I think when we encounter or when we're dealing with the person, we've got him kind of backed into narrow alley, something that kind of turned into a blind alley and he couldn't get out.
Yeah. So I assume this we would, if this were the movie, we would see sort of the careful alignment of the four of you pitting him, and the smiling cur who's dressed in finery. He kind of brings himself up short as he sees someone in front of him and realizes that he's been kind of directed into a blind alley, and he will say, my apologies, lady. I did not see you there in my path. I will turn and go. Oh, I see there are people behind me.
Well, it looks like you are surrounded, I think is the term.
That does appear to be the case. But this is a difficult circumstance for me. I do not wish to be robbed. And I think
we are not petty thieves. Calling us thieves. That is.
You say that in a way that does not fill me with a great deal of confidence in what comes next.
So, Rashawn, what was next on the list here once we cornered this fine gentleman?
This fine gentleman? And Rashawn will get right up into his face.
Oh,
what makes you think that this is a fine gentleman? Because he's wearing nice clothes? He's the thief, not us. You've seen him shaking down the stall vendors.
Oh, no. Accusations of thievery, we do not throw those around lightly. I am a servant of the government, and placing your hands upon me is like attacking the government itself.
Really? I gave him a shove.
Perhaps I spoke too hastily. I did not wish to aggravate you. It just be a realization of the position that you're in.
I give him another shove.
Then you will answer our questions and suffer no harm, correct?
Well, I certainly hope that will be the case. Fine, sir.
Because otherwise, we might have to take you someplace and have you explain why you have so much money, and where are the receipts for the money that you have.
I am a legitimate officer of the court. All of my transactions are certainly above board.
I'm sure they are, and I'm kind of like I'm holding Rashawn back just a step or two, kind of like, why let's not cast aspersions on this nice gentleman here. Let's see what he has to say for the questions we have for him.
If there is information that can provide you education, enlightenment, then certainly I would endeavor to give that to you.
So, out of character, what is it we're looking for?
You want to know where Ibn Majul's sort of HQ is in the city.
Okay.
So I go ahead and ask, where is Ibn Majul?
Who? He says, not particularly convincingly.
Okay, I will make this question easier. Where would I find Ibn Majul's men? And I crack my knuckles in a intimidating manner.
Okay, so I think this is certainly intimidation.
Yes.
The risk right now is that, I mean, you want to get the information out of him. The risk is that this will take too long, and people will notice that there's this group down here. So that's the danger. You've got 3 people with you,
Okay.
so I would say that each of them can contribute a helping die.
Okay. How do helping die work?
Do it as bonus dice.
Oh, so but do they have to spend anything?
I think their very presence for this moment counts as that. Just
Okay, so I
passive.
that
get 3
important.
bonus die, right?
Well,
3 or 1.
3.
Okay, good.
But
Because I have an intimidate of 1. I will use. I think it's panache, which is
Okay.
good. Which is good because I only have panache 2, so that's 6 dice.
Okay.
And what were the risks again?
Pardon?
What were the risks?
So the risk right now is that he will delay long enough that people will come to his rescue.
And that's just 1 raise.
There's just 1 raise on that. So you need 1 raise for success and 1 raise to keep that risk from occurring.
Okay.
and I think
will
fiction will support
calculate.
this.
I have 3 races, and one of them is a 10.
Okay. And sorry, Crystal, you were saying?
I was going to say fiction to support this. I think this would be Roshan. Oh, Zev, I really can't watch you do this anymore. I hate the way you tear people apart. I'll go watch the alley and make sure nobody comes in this way.
If I may, before hands are laid upon me too
Oh, and by
strenuously.
the way, I have an extra 2 that wasn't used.
Do you wish to sell that to me?
So remind me what that does. It's 1 hero point and you get a doom.
Yes, and I get a doom point.
Okay.
And remind us how many you have already?
I have 3 hero points.
No, I'm talking Lowell with his doom points.
I have. Well, let me see if I wrote those down.
I think you spent some, so you have 1 from last time.
I have 3 is what
Yeah.
I have down.
Okay, I'm not gonna sell that.
Okay.
No way.
Sometimes that makes your mind up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly of what you are speaking, but perhaps I could direct you to a place that might lead you to find what you are searching for.
Good.
On the towards the outskirts of the city, towards the eastern wall, there is the House of the Honeyed Wind. It is a racetrack. I suggest that you seek there. That if you truly wish to find the people that you wish to find, that is where you should go.
Okay. Can we? Is it possible to say that my last race, the one extra, is to say that he didn't actually tell on us?
Okay, you want to spend that so he'll be delayed in reporting in, like he won't go and
yeah, he won't go and report that we hassled him and stuff.
Okay, that seems fair.
Yeah.
That seems fair.
Okay.
And do you let him go then?
Yeah.
He will say, I hope that I provide you an adequate service, and I hope that the sun looks down upon your efforts and does not burn you. And he will head out. So I assume that we wipe from there to a shot of the House of the Honeyed Wind, just to give you a sense of what it is, and then we can talk about how you want to proceed. Searching, talking to people, investigating, all of that, just so you know the framework of this place. This is a massive racetrack that is split into 2 parts. On the one side, on the farther side, there are a set of stands, and there's a betting house and entryways, and of course, you know, there are food sellers outside, and that is the stands for the common person. It has no shade, no covering upon it. but it has a good view. Across the track, on the other side, is the House of Honeyed Wind. And this is a big, beautiful building built into the walls of the track. It connects up with the stables and the jockeys' rooms, and it has great covered private balconies for the elite who wish to attend and watch the races. It also has dining rooms inside. It is said to have at least one room of gambling as well in there. And it is a very posh, sort of upscale resort. And there are definitely guards aplenty on that side of the facility there. They do camel races. They do horse races. They even do chariot races there. And it is pretty well known and quite a beautiful sandstone exterior to it.
Okay.
So,
question.
Yes.
So did we get I mean, he pointed us there, but did we get through conversation with him or anything, info on are we going to, I assume we are going to the posher side of this place, but if it's divided up into booths and such, is there a specific one we're looking for? Are we looking for a certain contact or any of that kind of stuff?
Well, he didn't give you much beyond that, but he definitely seemed to point towards the posher side of things, and that's all of that. The sort of dining hall, the galleries, the theater, the gambling house, and the track itself is all part of one institution there. The impression you got from the Kerr is that either Ibn Majhul or one of his lieutenants clearly oversees this.
Okay, so we're looking for the head guy here, or not guy, but the person in charge.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me come to you, Stephen. What's your thinking or approach on this kind of thing? Do you hit the streets? Do you walk the perimeter? How do you handle things here?
I think I am going to head for the bar. This is a gambling institution. It's a place where people go to relax. I'm going to circulate and just try to look at as many of the employees that I can and see if I can find my old boyfriend.
Okay. So you will head in. So tell me, this is a kind of an upscale place. Are you dressed upscale?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm dressed. I mean, I am dressed like basically a caravan guard.
Okay.
So.
All right. So
I've got in my payday this, and I am sort of splurging is the impression I'm trying to give.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to check in with you about what each of your tactics are going to be, and then we'll kind of set a role for each of you, and you'll get to spend those raises to get information or see things or get past barriers, that kind of thing. Does that seem fair? That's sort of a standard way to do the dramatic sequences. So we know then that Kava is going in to hit the bar, try and slip in past the guards, that doesn't get bounced out. What about you, Zev?
I just realized that we forgot the bonus die from using intimidate one for that. But that doesn't matter because I succeeded anyways. I think I will I think let me see what I want to do. I want to I want to see the guard patterns and like the patrol watch patterns and try
Okay.
to sneak in that way.
Okay. So essentially, this first part is trying to say where the guards are at, what their patterns are, what security is like. That makes sense to me. Rashawn, what about you?
I think Rashawn is going to be interested in the same thing with the guards and the patterns, and also like points of access. So how could he's pretty acrobatic? So how could he get into this place? Is there like a back entrance? Because he's probably going to want to try and see if he can get to the office of whoever runs this place or something like that, if that's even possible.
Okay, that seems good. And let me come back around then and ask you, Musina, what's your approach?
Yeah, I kind of like the approach the others are taking. I'm probably going to go that same way because I don't dress up class enough to really kind of blend in. However, I could probably blend in with serving people or some such like that.
Oh, so do you want to try and insinuate yourself among the serving staff?
I think that would be a good idea. It would at least get me in there so I could look at these patterns of action that's going on kind of on the daily basis here. Okay.
I'm going to start with you then. We're going to figure out what your dice pool is. What trait do you think this is and what skill?
Okay, let's have a quick look here. I would say skill, let's see. Probably trying to look like I fit in. So I'm probably trying to convince a few people that I can that I belong here.
Sure.
And it's probably a panache thing. It's probably look like you belong and people don't question you.
Perfect. So that's going to be 4 dice.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time you've used that skill in this scene. You get an extra die. Mm-hmm. And you described how you were getting in, so I'll give you an extra die for flair.
Okay.
And let's come to you, Akava. What do you think is going to be your appropriate skills for making your way in and observing and so on?
Let's see. I think. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm putting on a performance. So this is the perform skill.
Sure.
And yeah, I think probably panache as well.
Okay. So that's 4 dice. It's the first time you've used that skill in this scene, so you get an extra die for that. And you also described, so you get a dice for flair. So you've got 6 dice then altogether. And then let's come to you, Zev. What are you using?
I will use wits and notice.
Okay.
Because
that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So bonus die for using notice first time in the scene, and anything for flair because I did.
Yeah, you described exactly what you were doing. You kind of told me how you were pacing and checking out the guards. I'll give you a point for that.
All right, so that's 8 dice.
Okay.
And that's kind of bad, but okay.
And then Christo, what is Rashawn using?
I guess it depends. If he's just observing, that would be notice. But if he's actually doing and trying to get in, then that would be finesse probably. I mean, they'd be different. So how do we want to? Are we saying that we're setting this up? Well, I'm trying to find a good access point, but for him, that might be not only watching but actually doing and testing to see how we could get in.
All right.
So I'm thinking this is probably finesse and well, I don't want to be noticed, so it's either hide or notice because I'm trying to find something else. So is it based on what I'm trying to do or how I'm trying to do it?
I think kind of how you're trying to do it. I think hide is appropriate for that.
Okay.
And you're better at hide, so
Well, I'm trying to play to the fiction here. I'm
Right.
not bad at notice either. So I could do that also.
True.
So that gives me 3 and 3, and then 2 for the fact that those are, well, 1 for the fact that I haven't used that combination yet, and 1 for the description. So we could say, because what he's trying to do is he's doing the thing where like maybe getting I'm blanking on the name, Mushina to signal when there's a clearing in the guards, and then he'll skitter across from one place to another, and then do like a flip to get up one level, hanging from the brick. Well, he said it was sandstone, but maybe there's sandstone bricks, and so he's hanging from it, and then climbing over and getting onto a second story balcony. I forget how many stories you said this was, but so he's doing all this sort of dramatic parkour stuff.
That makes sense to me. That makes perfect sense to me.
So the risks?
So right now, this isn't. This is actually, rather than being sort of a standard action sequence, where we're spending our raises to accomplish things, to overcome things on the fly here. So you generate a currency that you're going to spend here.
All right.
So then let me swing back over to you, Musina. How many raises did you get?
I have 3 raises.
Okay.
And no extra dice.
Extra dice. That's too bad. I would have lost some extra dice if you hadn't. So you are making your way in. What do you think is the first step in your entry?
Well, I mean, all of these places have a back alley, a place where the serving staff kind of removes like the detritus from daily cleanup and all that. So I think I'm gonna kind of work my way back in there, kind of grab an apron or something that's been used, maybe not too much, so it's not like all messy, but grab something like that that'll get me in with serving staff on the way in. Put that on. Come around the corner, kind of do the nod thing to a couple of the people that are coming out the door, and do the and I'll list off some name of some guy. It says, has so and so been in causing trouble today, and just kind of the idle chit chat.
Okay, so I'd say that's 1 raise. You find your way in, you get back there, spend some time. It is a race day, so there is a lot of chaos confusion here. It's getting towards the evening, so the staff is a little more harried because they're serving the elite who are there, and we probably get that montage of you at an apron at first, then you drop the apron and you get a tray, and the next thing you have glasses, that kind of moving through.
Kind of changing costume as I work my way in. Yeah.
And definitely you can make your way in and be amongst sort of the back staff, in the kitchens and that kind of thing. And once you're kind of in and milling among them, you kind of fade into the woodwork for guards and things.
During this whole process, I'm going to keep my eye out for the rest of the group. And if I spot them, I can kind of give them the high sign if something's not looking right or whatever.
That makes sense to me. And then Kava, you are making your way in, and you are trying to present yourself that you belong there, right?
Right.
Okay. How many raises did you get?
I got 3 raises.
Okay. So I will say that this first part, how is it that you present yourself that makes them think that you belong here?
I mean, I'm dressed like a caravan car, but I've got all my cleanest clothes on, and I've got some expensive bits of jewelry and fancy accessories. I'm dressing myself up as much as I can, and I'm walking with a little bit of a swagger.
Okay. So it's busy here. You come in, that your presence doesn't immediately set off signals, and then maybe one person maybe starts to say something but by that point, you've moved on in, and it is beautifully appointed. There's marble floors with the geometric patterns, blue and white. There's a fountain inside the main hall here, and then there are great marbled steps going off in different directions. You can hear the sound of the horses out front. Some people are up, on the great bleachers watching, hear the roar of the crowd. And you want to head for a bar or for a gambling house, or what would you like to head towards?
I want to head towards head for a bar, get a drink, and then sort of circulate through look at the different kinds of gambling. I mean, I want to look like somebody who's checking out the place and deciding how to bet.
Okay. So I think,
and I am talking in my childhood accent. It's sort of the mountain accent. It's sort of worn off a bit, but I want to speak like I used to speak, in case, just see if anybody recognizes the accent.
Okay.
And I am looking for people who look like muscle.
So I'm going to charge you
more than just gambling, more than just the standard gambling security.
So I'm going to charge you 1 raise to get in, and we'll come back on that observation, looking for the muscle here in just a second. And so Zev, you are checking out the guard patterns outside, right?
Yeah.
Keeping an eye out. And so you're moving quietly around outside. You can make a couple circuits of the outside of the track. Definitely less guarded over on the side with the essentially the rabble, which is kept isolated. But when we swing back around to where the guards are, definitely can pick up kind of, okay, there's some patterns here. Definitely more guards than you would have expected. And like one set of guards that has the marks of the track. Essentially, it's kind of a black stallion that's been done onto their leathers of the guard uniforms. Like a group of them, like a little further away from the track than you would expect. Like they're down a block, and that strikes you as odd.
Okay. So I got 3 raises.
Yep. So 1 raise will get you, what the pattern is. You kind of spotted the info, and you can spot that odd group out.
Yes.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll come back and see what you're doing with that information here in 1 sec. Zev. Climbing up, right?
No, Rashan climbing up.
Sorry. I'll get names mixed up. I apologize.
I like the picture of big Zev climbing up, though. I think that might actually be better.
I mean...
Rashan, so tell me what we see.
As it dodges across and goes up. Oh, so you're saying I get up and I get a look in the window?
So what do we see with your climbing?
Well, I think Moshina had a good idea. So this is probably, since it's meant to be sort of lush and very decorative, that they're probably carvings on the walls. So the stanchion is probably carved with different figurines and whatnot. And so I'm using those as handholds, but some of them are little slips. So you probably see me sliding around, and every once in a while there's that hang where I'm suddenly hanging and might fall. And the concern that the guards are going to see me because the guards are coming around, but then I managed to pull myself up last minute.
So you can get up and get around. Now you've got a choice of a couple places you can go to.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of get up onto the 2nd floor and just kind of blend in with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You could get up to the 3rd floor, which has sort of the balcony for the elites, where they're actually the viewing stands and such, which is a little higher class. But I can also see there is a 4th floor. which you're not sure what that is.
That's Rashan's thinking to himself. That's where the best stuff will be, without a doubt. So that Rashan's going to go to the 4th floor.
Okay. So we'll pull yourself up.
How many races do you have?
So it will cost you 1 raise to get up to the 4th, and definitely when you kind of. Pardon?
I have 4 raises, so I think I'm good.
Kind of get yourself up and can and look inside, and it looks like this 4th floor has some private rooms, the VIP suites, but it also looks like there is maybe a set of private offices, judging by the 2 swordsmen that are standing outside of these doors up here.
Okay. So it's a balcony with entrances on
yeah,
off of it,
kind
and
of
there are
walk
2 guards
in,
on it? Or?
You're looking in from like a window that goes into a main room of the floor. And you can see the couple of guards at the doors, and then the sort of sound of laughter that says to you VIP rooms.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so that's going to cost you a raise to have gotten up to that point. And then we'll see what that is. So Musina, you're inside. You've made your way in.
Yeah.
You've blended with the staff. What is the next thing you want to do?
I need to get a little bit of the gossip on who is here. Who's the VP of the evening?
Okay. You mean who manages things, or who is the VIP who's on site?
Well, who is it we're looking? We're looking for the guy who owns the place, right?
Okay, sure. So I will say that you can spend a raise and you can get some names. The woman who runs the place, her name is Nesma Malouf. And Nesma is sort of the old, long-lived owner of the track. She has been through several different high sultans. There's some rumors that she might have, during the previous unpleasant sultan, have rented the track out for unsavory, like running down of criminals and things like that. But all of this is forgotten. It's all rumor. There is a head of staff named Zims. He is described as popping up like when you're least expecting it. That Zims is everywhere, and he certainly spooks the staff.
Okay.
And then the only other sort of person that is worth naming is a guy, a head guardsman, the person who runs the guards here, named Abkara.
So he's head of the guards of the place.
Yeah. And there's certainly some suggestion when you're speaking to the staff that they know that there's something more going on here on the track.
So there's something kind of below
hidden
the
away
tables kind of activity going on.
Yeah, that's definitely the feeling you get. And I'd say that's worth a raise to get that gossip here from the staff. Does that seem fair?
Do they kind of hint at what kind of gossip or what kind of things it might be? Just kind of in general. Oh, I hear this is going on.
In that way where they go, these are things I do not want to know about. I do not wish to know. I do not wish to speak of it. I had a cousin who worked here, and he asked questions. I've not seen my cousin.
Not working here anymore, is he?
He's not working anywhere, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
Just word to the wise.
So just
do your job. Just do your job, and
as I'm doing that, I'm grabbing a tray or something, and
don't open any doors you're not supposed to.
Okay.
And we're going to cut to Kava. You are looking around. You're using your accent. And what is the name of your old friend?
Taha bin Khan.
Taha. He doesn't see you, doesn't spot you immediately, but you will see Taha. He's in the uniform of the guards here. And he comes through with another guardsman walking patrol, walks through the gambling hall here. Looks very serious. You can see he's got a scar that runs down his face that didn't have when you saw him before. Looks hardened. He's clearly been through a lot. And he has got a mean glint in his eye. What do you want to do?
I want to sneak up on him, get close before he sees me, and then just swing him into a passionate embrace, lean him back, and give him a big kiss.
Okay. So I think you can do that with a raise. Essentially, spend that, grab him, do that, and he'll be startled. Doesn't know what's going on. The guardsman who's with him is looking at this like, what's going on? And Taha goes, "Who are you?"
It's Isun. Don't you recognize me, Taha? It's been 5 years. I can't believe I just ran into you like this.
His eyes get wide. Clearly, he recognizes you. And he says, "I don't know this woman. You should leave. We're going to escort you out now. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you think I am, but you need to leave now." And he goes to grab you and start walking you out.
Oh, but the baby!
Okay. We'll come back on that note. Zev, got a sense of the guards outside. Got a sense of how this is. You can see that other group down the other way. What do you want to do?
I'll go check on the group the other way, see what they're up to.
Okay. Kind of move down there. You will see that there are some carts and some boxes and things, and they are kind of watching this house that people, like a little warehouse that people are unloading things into, and they're keeping an eye on the street, like they're trying to play this casual so that no one notices that anything's out of the ordinary. Now you could get closer, or you could wait until they're finished. What do you want to do?
I'll get closer.
Okay. So I think that's going to cost you a raise to do that quietly.
Yeah.
You will see them unload. There's hushed whispers that kind of talk that says to you that illicit goods have been transferred. And the people who drop things off get back on their carts and head off. The guards then head into this warehouse and shut the door. Kind of pop nearby, kind of listen. You'll hear sounds of movement and talking, and they're clearly moving things around in there.
Okay, I want to listen in from the outside.
All right. I think that if you want to get specific details, I'll charge you a raise. If you want to get just general info, I won't charge you anything.
Okay, I'll spend my last raise to get the details.
Okay. Hear them talking, and you hear the sound of a secret door being opened. Hear that? They move a lever, and then there's the sounds of them ordering people around, must be servants or prisoners, and having them haul these goods down into this secret passage. And they're clearly taking whatever was dropped off, and they're taking them to secret tunnels. You're guessing these tunnels must then run back to the track.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Zev already went. Now it's Roshan.
Okay. So can I? And from where I am, I can't see into any of the posh rooms.
You could probably see into one of the VIP rooms, but clearly this office doesn't have a window. It's definitely made to be secure.
Are any of the VIP rooms empty?
So, what you mean to say to me is, so one of the VIP rooms is empty. So what I'm going to do is this, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, no, actually, what I think I'm looking for is one that's occupied.
Okay.
But I know where you were going with it, and what I want to spend it on for an advantage is to say that I have like a jar of big cockroaches that I can release in and have go over them.
Okay.
I'm trying to set up a distraction is what I'm trying to do.
All right. So kind of do along the side to get to one of the windows. What does this jar look like? Is it a glass jar? Is this? I mean, how do you have this carried with you? Is it a gourd?
That's a really good question. What would it be? It could probably just be a pouch. It would have to be a thick leather pouch that they could be in, with like a drawstring on it. So something that I could loosen it in and just toss them in.
Probably treated with something that keeps them docile while they're in the bag.
Until I shake them up.
Yeah, and they get angry and mean and bitey.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll fling that in.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear the sound of it as it hits. And clearly there are some people lounging on pillows, half dressed, when the bag hits, and the cockroaches spill out, and the shrieks begin. They start screaming and shouting, and you'll hear the sound of rushing and people tripping and that kind of thing. So you have set up a distraction there. Do you head back to that original window then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely.
And we'll come back to that. Messina, you've got this information. What do you want to do with it now?
Okay. I think I want to take this info and maybe I think I want to make my way. Probably, I wanna locate Zims, so I kind of, not to encounter him, but to know where he's at.
Okay.
And then head on up to the office area.
Okay. Head upstairs into the main thing, or
well, up to where I would assume that not having that lower third's really irritating. Up to where I think Rashawn may be.
Okay.
Question, Lowell. So since I spent a raise to create was it an opportunity or an advantage?
Just for an effect right here. But do you have something that affects that? Like if you create an opportunity?
Yeah, because then I get teamwork, and so then everybody gets to take advantage of it.
Okay.
Isn't that the way that works? Team player, when you spend a raise to create an opportunity, you can spend a second raise, and I'll do that, and activate the opportunity on behalf of another willing hero.
Okay.
They don't need to speed it. So that means anybody in the group then, or do I have to pick a person?
You have to pick one.
So your thing with the cockroaches could have created enough stir that one of us maybe heard it and knows that must be you.
Either you can use that to the advantage for Kava or for Messina.
Exactly. So I guess it's a matter of, can I let them choose which one of them wants it more? It sounds like it might be Messina might be able to use it more.
Either of you, how many races do you have left, Messina?
I just have the one left.
Okay. And how many do you have, Kava?
Right. I spent 2 so far, right? So I've got 1 left.
Okay. So they both got 1. So they're even on that.
So, I mean, if whoever thinks that they could use it more, it sounds like certainly Messina could use it as a distraction to get upstairs.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is kind of the next things is I've got an idea of where I want to go.
Okay.
And kind of meeting up with people is probably the next thing I want to start doing.
So
let's
say this.
Can I say something first?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think finding Zims would be one race, and then meeting up with Roshan would be another race. So you can do it that way.
I think that's probably.
As I was going to say, meeting up with Zim would be one race.
Because I want to find Zim so I can avoid him. That way I know where he's at. So when I go to the other direction, I know he's not going to pop up in front of me.
Sure. That sounds perfect to me. So let's say that there is some kind of dumbwaiter or elevator. Does that seem fair? That you can use. But before that, you'll spot Zims. And this guy gives you a chill.
I was gonna say he's got to look Weasley.
He's got kind of the narrow beard. You can see that some of his teeth have been replaced. I'm not sure if it's steel or silver, just on one side. And there are some scars on this side of his face. And he glides like a serpent through these rooms. His eyes kind of darting left and right. He's clearly anxious and watching for intrusions. And so you'll be able to spot him. Where do you hide to avoid his glance?
Oh, there's definitely not just like palms, but there's floral arrangements around the place that I can hide in the shadows of, or behind the really large pots that they're planted in.
And you can do that as he glides past, and then we see the shot of you getting into a dumbwaiter.
Yeah, something like that, or yeah.
Or what else?
No, that would work. Get into that, and as you see him just kind of nearing that, I pull the rope and my feet just disappear above the thing, just as he comes into view.
And as you're going up, you'll probably start to hear the shouts from the cockroach fiasco up top. So we're going to put you into position to meet up with Rashawn on his scene. We'll come back to you when that connection comes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kava, what is your intent when you scream out the baby?
It's like I'm just instinctively sort of escalating, making more of a scene than it was, and then I dropped my voice and said, "Look, we can have this fight now, or you can meet me later. I can go quietly, and you can meet me later. But I am not leaving town without talking to you."
The baby, you need to get out of here. This is not a place for you to be. Not tonight, especially. Get out.
Fine. I'll be quiet. But you'll meet me. You'll meet me at the Black Camel after your shift ends. All right?
You leave now. If you get out now and cause no more problems.
Fine.
And he will step away and goes to reassure the other guardsmen and get him kind of calm down, like, oh, it's nothing, crazy woman. Right. What do? Do you leave?
I sort of head towards the exit, and then when they're not looking, I change course and head back to the bar.
Okay. So we'll say that you can avoid his glance. You can get that set up. He's going to come there. And with that last raise, you can get yourself in a position where the people who've heard you scream baby haven't quite put two and two together. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. Okay.
Zev. So these guards have got this secret door that they opened. They've clearly loaded things into there. You have the sensor going down in. So what do you want to do?
I have no raises.
I have no raises. Okay. So we'll come back to you when we start this next sequence then. Does that sound cool? Let's come back to then Rashawn. Screams, shouting, half-dressed people pulling on their clothing and rushing about pell-mell. The guards definitely run down to see what's going on and rush away.
And so Rashawn's going to rush in.
And you see the dumbwaiter door open.
And I've been expecting this, and I'll signal to Machina and quickly dash to the door. And if it's unlocked, glide in. If it's locked, then I'll use a hero point to pop it open.
Okay. I think it's actually going to be locked. So what does that look like? What does the popping of the lock look like from your skill set?
Maybe the popping of the lock is boosting Messina through the air vent over the door. You know what I mean?
So you're saying I just got in front of the door, put my hands down, and as a support thing, and give you a leg up to go flying through.
Just one of those. It's like, yep, pop it from the other side.
But it's absolutely quiet.
I don't know if that'll work all that great, but you never know.
Yeah, I say you can spend that hero point. You can do that. You can get inside, spend a raise to do this all super quietly without the guards noticing.
Sure, that works for me.
And this is a big, beautiful, well-appointed office here. This is clearly the heart of the operations.
So would you say this is a place few have put their eyes upon?
I would say that, yes.
Might be worth a hero point.
That is worth a hero point. Yeah, this is the private offices, clearly, of Nesma Malouf. Beautiful decorations, great vases, crystal, the smell of excellent incense in here, wonderful carpets and tapestries. This place is lush and ripe for the picking. Do you have any raises left there, Rashawn? Okay. That sounds like we're at the end of that sequence. You two are in the offices. Zev is at the area with the secret doors, and Kava has moved to the bar to play in the next move. Let's take our 5-minute break, and when we come back, we'll set up for that next sequence. That is a very orange beverage.
It is my flavored water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I can't do plain water. Not
Oh,
unless
really?
I'm like eating a meal or something. I've gotta add something to it. And it's better than drinking Pepsi or Coke or whatever. And
True. I certainly the acid that
yeah,
from all the soda.
I'm sure all the fake flavor isn't all that good
He
for
said,
you. But yeah,
yeah, doubting is horrible. Coke Zero, second generation, sad knockoff.
But it is orange, and it tastes very much like Tang, if you remember that.
Okay, yeah.
What thing, Fanta?
No, it's a flavoring for water that I
Oh,
I
right,
added on.
right.
Mhm. It's why it's so very orange.
Yeah. When I lived in Egypt, everything was either a Bebzi, which is a cola, or it was a Fanta, and then it was whatever it was ever like flavored drink they had that wasn't a cola.
So, Lol, you're going to Gen Con?
That is the plan. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I think Jason is going.
Yeah, I've heard that Jason is coming from Gate on G+.
That would be very cool. Yeah, a bunch of people there. I think my sister is actually going to Gen Con again this year.
Oh, okay.
This will be the first year I'm not going in a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just gotten kind of too big for me. So my big con is now Origins.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I can go to Origins because of like timing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
too bad. Origins
That's
is
a
nice.
bummer.
Yeah,
Origins is
I've heard.
very laid back, and the
Gen
whole
Con isn't.
area downtown there is great for food. If you want to, like, I mean, it's just all
And
sorts
that
of
is the
stuff.
thing is
Food and friends and playing games and pretty good.
Food is my number one concern.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's my number two. My number two concern behind clean bathroom availability.
Yeah.
But food is, I mean, Columbus certainly does well.
Yeah.
By it.
For me, my number one concern is having a place to sleep
Yeah,
while
that's
I'm there.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to start. I want to see what you want to do. What kind of state intent, and we'll do rolls and we'll generate races. I want to start with Kava, and then Maria, and then we'll talk to the pair, and we'll figure out what everybody's doing in those sequences. We'll do those rolls. And don't forget, if you have hero points, you can always spend a hero point to get yourself an extra die, or give your associates 3 extra dice if you're in the same area. And look to see if you have any advantages that can affect.
So
what you're doing.
how does that happen again? So the hero point can give you 1, but if you use the hero point for the others, it gives 3 to 1 person, or 3 to
3 to 1 person.
Oh,
yeah, it is a
okay.
much more efficient to help each other.
Team pushing kind of mechanic.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So Kava, what do you think this next step? So you came in, you did perform, you got in, you got some information, you kind of saw where the guards were at, and you've faded back into the woodwork. What's going to be your next step here?
I think I want to talk to one of the bartenders, get them in conversation, because I mean, Taha seemed to imply that something special was happening tonight.
Okay.
And I want to get some idea of what is going on, what's different about tonight from all other nights.
Okay. So what is that? Does that sound like maybe empathy?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Empathy and what
probably
trait?
wits, I would think.
Okay.
Not my best trait, but.
And you've already kind of set yourself up, you're wandering to the around. So I'll give you the die for flair. And you haven't used empathy yet this scene, so that's 2 extra dice. And if you spend any hero points, you can get extra there, or hold on to that.
And I think I'll hold on to that.
Okay. Let me come to then Zev.
Zev is going to go in and punch in some faces if he has to, but mainly go in and come across as this threat.
Okay. So do you think you want to start out with Brawl? Like we're definitely going to
Like, I
Brawl?
think, yeah, we are definitely going to go in and fuck people up.
Okay. So that's cool. You'll use, like, it sounds like Brawn and Brawl.
Yeah, Brawn and Brawl, and any bonus die?
Yeah, I'll give you a point for flair because you're going full tilt.
Yeah.
And first time this scene. And so what that's going to be is we'll kind of walk through the sequences of you getting in and putting aside consequences, getting through things with those successes. Does that sound cool?
Cool.
Okay. Let's come up with the Rashawn Messina team. What are your two plans?
I know what Rashawn is going to be looking around to see if there's anything that reminds him of what was the name of the other guy's place? Yes, we were just for Master Zion.
Uh-huh.
So, because if this is a secret society of some sort, they might have something in common.
So it sounds to me like we're focusing on notice now for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I like the idea of comparing it to Zion. I'll give you your die for flair, your die for first time this scene.
Question: the reroll with a skill rank of 3 costs nothing other than you have the skill rank?
Yeah, as long as you have the skill rank, you get to use that one time on a roll.
Awesome. Yep. I have 5 races then.
Nice. So your notice is 2, and wits, you think?
Yeah, actually that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. 1 die for flair and 1 die for first use.
Mm-hmm.
And let's come over to Messina. What are you going to be doing?
Okay, so we're in here. We're kind of in here by ourselves then, I guess.
There are no other exits from this room that you can see.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, I accidentally dropped out of the call.
Sherry does that all the time.
We're both in here. I think I should be watching for somebody in the hall or watching for, but I haven't seen this room before.
Right.
So I need to look around a little bit. There may be information on, maybe I can turn up something on my my captain's name, or maybe he's been through the area or something and has dealt here.
Sure. Does that sound like
so I figure I'm kind of getting distracted from being lookout.
That sounds perfect to me. So what do you want to do for skill and trade on that?
I think that would probably be wits, because I'm kind of thinking about, okay, where would you hide kind of information on who's been here and gambling and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And probably notice.
Or notice?
Notice is probably the other side of it.
And you didn't use notice in that last sequence, did you?
No.
Okay, good. So I'll give you a point for flair because you are putting the mission in danger by not paying attention to the outside, and an extra die for first time this scene.
Okay. That's 2 there. 2
so
there.
Messina is doing what again?
So they are searching the room. That's the start of their sequences.
Oh, okay. And with people still in there?
No, but there will be guards returning to take their positions outside the door.
But the door is closed.
Yes, so they can't see in.
Exactly. And Lowell, I think I can sell you back a die or two.
I will
I was
gladly.
going to say, how exciting do you want us to make this? Because I think I may be able to do something similar.
I can't sell dice because I got like 5 races and it took all
Yeah.
of the dice.
Nice.
I'll sell you 1 die for a hero point. Does that
Okay.
sound like a deal?
That sounds great. Victor, do you have extra dice that didn't?
I got 2 raises and 3 extra dice. 3 extra dice.
That's
You want 3 hero points?
So how exciting do we want to make this? I think we should make this really exciting. I think I'm going to give you 3 of those.
I will gladly take those 3.
Just remember, you could be making it bad for Zeph.
yeah. Okay. Thanks, Messina.
I figure I give them to him. He's probably going to squeeze me at least a little bit too. So,
Okay. Kava, we're going to start with you.
Okay, I have 2 raises and
Okay.
no extra dice.
So what is it that you want to get when you hit up the bartender? What is it that you want to get from the bartender?
I want to. I want to get his sense of the mood. Figure out what he thinks whether he's noticed anything unusual going on, and whether I can get any information about what has Taha so concerned about tonight. I mean, I figure the bartender is not one of the inside people. He's sort of just sensitive to the mood.
I say, well, the boss was through earlier today. I know she's looking into things. She reports to some people. I know that. Everybody knows that. And one of them came through. And that asked her to do things. And so she's been on edge. She's been ordering everyone else around. And it's got Zims, that snake of a man, on edge, and he's been everywhere.
Yeah, looks like they've got some really hard people on staff. Is this a good place to work?
It depends on whether you want work or work.
Well, I mean, like a good place for muscle to work. I mean, because it looks like they need muscle, but is it the kind of? I mean, this is the kind of place where you really want to get.
Here's what I know: is when the Numenari occupied the city, this was a big arena.
Mm-hmm.
And when they built the track, they built it over the old places. There's lots of undertunnels underneath that they used to have for their pit fighters and such. There's always muscle going in and out down there. Some people say that there's passages that lead outside the walls, out to some of the caravanserai, smuggling ports, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
So if you like that kind of stuff, if you want to work, get your blade wet, and that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've done work like that before, and if the pay's good.
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you want another glass there?
Oh sure. Oh yeah. Keep them coming.
Okay. Pours another glass for you. It's kind of floral scented alcohol. It's put out there, kind of violets and rose water, strong, and you will stay there. So I'm going to say it's going to cost a raise to get that info out. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
All right. So you can come chugging in there, Zev, and you can drop down that secret door as it's closing.
Yeah.
like it's going in that slow to see this go in, and there's this little clockwork space in the floor, and you can drop down, and you'll drop down behind like a couple of those guards who are they're the last ones to go down in. And you want to clock these back guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what that looks like. You got like these 3 guys in front of you. Spend a raise, and you can take them down.
All right. So I am. So basically, let me see. What's the scenario? It's just the guards.
So like drop down, and it's maybe like 10, 15 feet, and you're kind of in this stone tunnel that goes forward with like these little lamps in the distance, and there are these 3 guards. They're maybe 5, 6 feet in front of you. They're walking away from you. You're right behind them.
All right, so I'm right behind them. I grab one, and then I basically grab him by the neck, and then do the pressure points there, and go and basically drag him down like that.
Okay. And you kind of do that, and maybe the other 2 turn, and how do you take them out? They see you like having choked out their buddy. They're like, what the?
I punch them both.
Okay, just
yeah.
Okay. And this is a small contained area, so there's probably that sound thwack as their skulls hit against the stone wall, and they'll slump to the ground.
Right.
And you can kind of move along the way. You can hear the sound. You actually have the sound of the people transporting things. That's helping you kind of find your way, because it's kind of a maze down here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is it that you are looking for, Rashawn?
Well, aside from some treasure, because there's got to be something valuable in here.
Well,
but
let me ask you this. Is the first thing you're looking for treasure?
No. The first thing is going to be the connection.
All right. I will say you will see there is some fresh paperwork, scroll work, letters on the table. Things clearly that Nesma was working on. And you can kind of pull that up. And it looks like there's some notes. Clearly, she's been asked to provide some assistance and get some information on a scholar named Akhmat. And it looks like Scholar Akhmat left earlier today in a caravan. And he's he's like you, an action archaeologist of a sort.
A competitor.
Yeah, and it looks to you like this woman, Nesma, provided information to somebody to help them maybe get in on that caravan, infiltrate, find a position, that kind of thing. Does that sound like fair piece of information?
So Nesma paid to put one of her people into the caravan? Is that what?
No. If we put 2 and 2 together, given what you found out below, you think that Al-Mahjul had her assist him. Like he came in and demanded that assistance. That's the freshest thing on her desk right now.
Okay.
What about you, Musina?
I think I'm looking around the room kind of in general at first, and kind of idle chit chat with Rashawn, saying kind of things like, so how long do you think we have before we need to get out of here?
And I think he's ruffling through the papers and sort of idly listening. Very calm, says, I think we have as much time as we need as long as we don't make noise.
Oh, and I turn around and like sort of knock a vase, but catch it. One of those kind of like Oh, so yes, quiet. And I'm gonna go through kind of the other side of the desk and just start
Okay.
rifling through stuff.
You
just
will
to see what I turn up.
very quickly find an order of execution. Half written, dated today, hasn't clearly been sent down, but essentially it is addressed to Abkara. The captain has outlived his usefulness. Choke him unto death, and leave him in the street. Those are the orders given by our master, the Faceless. And of course, what is your captain's name?
I came up with one finally.
Okay.
Yeah, let me go over to the screen where I put it down. The captain's name is Jalal Al Zakaria.
Zakaria. Perfect. And it looks like, given that this is the name of the guard captain from the building, that he must be held somewhere down below.
Okay. So I probably go white, like the blood drain from my face, and it's like I think he's here. I think he's here. And I'm kind of like stunned and a little bit shocked.
We haven't heard the guards return yet, have we?
I mean, they may have returned, but there's stuff outside. I mean, you've been concentrating on getting these things open.
Quiet. We'll look for him in a bit. Let's finish here first.
But he's here in this building somewhere.
Okay, we'll deal with it. Let's finish here. I've got some good information.
So, and I kind of do the take a deep breath. So what have you found so far?
I found it looks like the Faceless One is going to be in the caravan with this other scholar type, archaeologist.
Okay.
Obviously, do you want something from the caravan or from the archaeologist?
So is the caravan leaving from the city here, or is it?
Yes, it looks like it actually left today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's if we're gonna do something, we need to do what we're gonna do here and then catch up with it fast.
Exactly.
Ah.
And Roshan is going to take that one item and roll it up and take it with him.
Okay. Kava, I'm going to skip you on this one because you've got just 2 raises. I'm going to do one round with everybody else and then come back to you. Does that seem fair to get the numbers right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I was gonna say I'm also, I think, just 2 raises.
Okay. So you are bundling your way down these tunnels there, Zev. And you get to what seems to be a split. You've seen several splits, but you kind of follow the noise. But when you get to this break, and again, you're underground, so it's hard to tell which way is which. But one of the sets of sounds seems to be the sound of those bearers hauling those goods down that way. But then you're hearing some other noises and talking down this other passage. Which group do you want to go towards? What do you want to follow?
I want to figure out what the talking is about first.
Okay. So I assume you want to do this quietly so you're not seen, heard?
Yeah.
So give me a raise.
Yes.
And you'll make your way down these halls and you will come to where the rooms kind of open up and get to a door, kind of look through the sort of metal slit there, and you can see it actually looks like kind of a dungeon. Like there are cells and people chained up. Some of them might be like slaves, but some of the other ones look different, like they must be just prisoners. And there are a few guards in there. And the talking that's going on is essentially the Three Moons. Oh, you're kidding. And they, then the sound of the chips getting, and then the sound of the shuffling as they redeal for another hand of the cards. So that's where you're at right now. Outside of this, no one is seeing you. You've concealed outside of these chambers. Let's come back to you then, Rashawn. You've got some raises. What else do you want to find here?
Okay, so I had 3 originally, so I've spent 1.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I guess we can find out what the faceless one is in the caravan. Excuse me. And I guess we're looking for something expensive.
Okay. So spend a raise to get a valuable item.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You will see the other thing here that is under lock and key appears to be a manuscript of some kind. Not in a language you recognize, but it looks weirdly mystical to you.
Mm-hmm. I think this is for our friend the sorcerer. So take that and pocket that.
Okay, you can take that and pocket that, and that's the point at which you'll hear the sound of the door.
And throw myself at Mushina and say, "Play along," and start pretending like we're having passionately making out. Like there were two VIPs that randomly wandered into this room after the cockroach incident.
How many races do you have left?
I have 1.
Okay. So this is what will happen. I think if they tell me if this sounds fair. The doors are thrown open, and you will see the 2 guards kind of step, and they see that, and they do, right? But you'll see there's a third figure there. The tight little black beard with this pockmarked face with these silver teeth, this blackened clothing, and hear him go, and we'll come back to you 2 in just a second. Kava, what are you doing? You got some information?
I think I'm sort of circulating. I'm looking for the entrance to the pits they mentioned.
Okay.
Looking for security around that, and just see if I can find my way down there.
Spend a raise.
Okay.
Spend a raise and tell me what it is. What's the thing you find up here that is the passage, given the information that you found? What is it that you find that lets you in?
Well, there's one passageway that's very, very inconspicuous. It looks like it's mainly used by the wait staff, but I noticed that it goes past the kitchen, and I'm able to slip in there between waiters and get to. I find a stairway that back stairway that heads down, and
that sounds perfect to me. So let's go back to Zev. Zev, we've spent 2 of your 5 knocking people out, getting there quietly. What do you want to do next?
So, is there anyone in the dungeons that I recognize that is important?
I would say that if it seems reasonable to you, Messina, have you described the captain to your friends?
It's all she talks about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you probably what is the distinguishing feature of Jalal al Zakaria?
I think his beard.
Okay.
I think it's a very well manicured and well shaped beard. It's kind of lengthy, but it's a robust beard.
Perfect. So it'll cost you a raise, Zev, but you kind of lean and you'll see this guy and he looks terrible. He looks terrible. You know, his hair is odd, his clothing stuff, but somehow he has kept this beard immaculate. Like he's clearly like smuggled in beard oil, and it kind of glistens there and it looks beautiful. And it is definitely your colleague Messina's friend, the captain. So what do you want to do?
How many guards are there?
Let's say 4. You got 2 races left.
Oh, that's not bad. Beat up the guards and free him with my
Okay.
remaining 2 races.
That sounds perfect to me. So tell me what that looks like.
So I'm gonna make some noise outside
Okay.
to draw the guards out, and then knock them out like as they come out. And then I grab the keys from one of them and free him and the other prisoners.
Perfect. There's that sort of quick bounce back and forth. There's noise from that. Kava, that will alert you to where you need to get to. Okay. And so we have the rush as you cross paths with your friend Zev, and you can see all these unconscious people. Mm-hmm. And these prisoners being let out, particularly this that captain has a fine beard. So that's very odd. But I'm going to spend the rest of my doom points on this now. As you 2 are kind of gathering the captain together, mm-hmm. You will hear some noise, and you see coming down passageway some guards. There seems to be a more official guard with them. Looks like it might be the captain of the guard who's been mentioned earlier, and he has tied up another guard who you will recognize, Kava, and he's kind of pushing him along. And they are headed right towards your position, you 2. And from there, let's cut back up to the room. There are a couple of guards there, and there is the sinister agent Zims, who sees you 2 rolling around on the floor. What do you want to do? The guards are clearly distracted. Zims doesn't seem to have been taken in by your chicanery.
I think we're probably more up against the desk a little bit so that any paperwork doesn't look like we've actually tampered with it, other than we've bumped it and moved it and whatever. Okay. And I think I'm still kind of dressed up as waitstaff.
Okay.
So I think somehow that plays into this, but I'm not too sure how.
Okay. You've got some guards who probably you could fool. You've got a villain who's going to be less easy to fool, who already is pretty much wondering how you got into a room that was locked. So let me check in then, well, as you're contemplating that, with Rashawn.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got to do something clever to get out of this. Although he's not particularly clever in like fooling people, so I think he's probably looking around for Is there? I don't
Are
suppose
you
there
just-
was a lit lamp or anything like that in here.
There probably are some objects that you could use. Is your intent to cheese it, to fight? What is it that you want to be doing here in this scene?
I think we need to like make an opening so we can do the cut and run kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it needs to be also. So what I was looking for is like, is there some way we could set the pipers on the desk on fire?
That sounds like a great thing you could do. What skill do you want to use for the scene then to simulate that?
I'm thinking wits and right now. I think this one is going to be panache and what would it be? Convince or perform?
It depends. I mean, are you describing your intent or are you describing your tactics? Like I could also see theft for sleight of hand here, or even athletics.
I think this is actually, and I'm doing myself a disservice on this, but okay, well maybe this theft. Maybe the idea is because I'm trying to set up a distraction as the primary thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to distract specifically Zims.
Okay. All right. So let's get those dice. It's the first time you've used that in the scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So
And,
how do we use the hero points?
So you say, I'm going to help him out.
Yeah,
I'll spend a hero point. You can have 3 dice.
because I definitely want to do that and make that dice roll a little bit better.
Okay. And that doesn't take an action. You just spend the hero point. So you get 3 extra dice, Christo.
Okay.
And then go on. I'm sorry.
And I think I'll add, do the same thing and spend a hero point for Messina, so that we're trying to do this. I think we probably looked at each other, had the same idea, and acted on it as the idea.
3 extra dice for you, Messina. What are you doing, Messina? Are you going to the fighting if he's doing the distraction?
I think we're kind of doing 2 slightly separate distractions.
Okay.
That way it kind of like one guard's looking at one thing and the other guard's looking at the other thing, and maybe it's enough to kind of cause Zims to kind of get them bumbling back together again to kind of do their thing.
Okay. So sounds like convince.
I'm thinking either convince or theft for the maybe not theft, but yeah, convince is probably it.
Okay. And what trait?
It would probably be finesse.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna do something along the lines of, I'm waitstaff, I'm messing up the room here, I'm breaking things. So that vase that I had bumped, that's going over, and whatever. So who knows? It's probably priceless. And
Okay. So go ahead and you get the bonus for flair and extra die, and you can make those rolls. I'm going to come back to you and get settled out what those numbers are in just a second.
Okay. So.
Let me check in with then Kava and Zev. There's this group of guards, a guard leader, a hostage. They're coming your way. What do you two want to do? What's going to be your approach for this scene, this sequence?
I think I'm doing the Wonder Woman thing where I've got the sword slung on my back beneath my tunic, and I am going to pull this out and go straight to violence.
Okay.
I will help out in that. So
Okay.
I will spend a hero point for that.
All right. So it sounds to me like you're going to be using weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you're going to get 3 extra dice from Zev's help. And what trait? Is this a finesse or brawn?
I think this is brawn.
Okay. So that's going to give you there 6, 9, 11 dice total, if I'm reading things right. And then Zev, what about you?
I'm trying to think on how to justify not using Brawl in this, but I think I'm gonna have to reuse Brawl and Brawn.
Okay. You go also Yeah.
Right, and I will support her in this. I'll spend a hero point. I've got her back.
And I will gain an extra bonus die because I'm using brawling to get to kick and punch and all that stuff.
Okay, so that sounds to me like you're rolling 12 dice if I'm reading those numbers right.
Did I describe what? Well.
Oh yeah, you said you're going in with the fist flying.
All right, so that's 4, 3, 5. Yeah, 12.
Okay. So you two make those rolls, generate those raises. Let me come back to the room upstairs.
Well, geez, that made me feel lame with 12 dice.
Bruh.
All right. So here's what we've got here, you two. We have a villain and 2 brute squads. Okay. The brute squads that you're facing are strength 6. Okay. They're so strength 6 each. So 6 raises can on a squad can take them out, or you can reduce their effectiveness on them, however you want to do that. So how do you want to play this? How many raises do you have, Christo?
I have 5 raises.
5 raises. And what about you there, Lucina?
I've got 6 raises.
6 raises. So you could essentially take these brute squads, send them into chaos, and take them out of the action, except for one of them, the only one who will actually listen to their boss.
Okay.
Does that seem like something you want to do?
Do we have to take out the brute squads first, or can we actually be taking out Zims?
You could. Well, see, you're trying to do confusion
By setting his papers on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of like, if we can get the brutes to kind of not coordinate, then he's got to wrangle them. So our goal is kind of to get him to like deal with wrangling them.
Okay, so essentially, it'll take 6 raises to distract him.
Okay. So
tell me, how do you want to divide that out amongst the group here?
So here's another question. So
sure.
if we use his 6 raises and deal with him, that means we've got 5 other raises to deal with the other 2. What happens when they're only partially defeated?
How
does that play out?
If you partially defeat a brute squad, let's say you have a strength 10 brute squad and you take out 5 of them, then when they go, they're going to deal 5 wounds to you because their numbers are reduced. But they won't do 10 wounds; they'll do 5.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to deal with Zims. I want to maybe like deal with him. Maybe in the confusion, he gets clonked over the head or something, and he's like out cold or something like that.
Okay.
Does that sound good, Christo?
Yeah, sure, that works.
Sound like
because maybe by setting the papers on fire, I'm distracting him enough so that you can actually do that.
Yeah.
And so now, if you're going to actually try to attack him and do physical damage to him, we go into a different sequence. If you just want to like occupy him, so he is going to be occupied.
Okay.
Dealing with the fire and the papers and stuff.
Let's just, instead of turning this into a fight, I want to do the break and run thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's those are the traits we were using to get that, because I think we could apply this.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's just baffle and confuse. And
so you can apply 6 of those, and essentially you light that on fire. Suddenly the desk goes up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's rushing over because he knows there are flammable things in here and valuable things, and his boss is going to be furious. And he just kind of does a as he goes running over to that. But then you've got these guardsmen. You can confuse half of them, but they're good. How do you want to do that?
Can I set up an advantage? And I'll tell you what I'm trying to do, and you can see if you want to do this. So can I use the rest of our raises to get Mushina out and then use a hero point in my talent to get me out, because I have an escape talent that gets me out of a scene.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could do that. Because I think we got 6 raises, 5. So I think Messina, you're going to take 1 wound.
See, okay.
Is that okay?
Do you like that approach?
Yeah, I'm looking at my my things over here as well, just in case. Yeah, my advantages are like to get you into places, that kind of stuff. So yours is kind of more of an escape clause.
Yeah, exactly. An escape clause. But it only gets me out. So that's why I was saying I could use my raises to get you out.
Okay.
You know, basically, what I'm picturing is as Zim starts to run over to the desk, I turn and I kick him so that he falls onto the flaming desk.
Okay.
And sort of goes up in flame, and then tell the guards, "You got to put him out. You got to put him out." And that might distract them enough.
And then I'll yell, "Oh, I know where the water is," and just like head out the door.
Okay, I do think you are going to take a wound.
Yep.
In the process of doing that, just because based on the raises here, which would normally leave you, then Rashawn to deal with the other brute squad. But tell me how this hero point spending, how this gets you out of that sequence.
Where was it? Nurse of Steel? No. I know I had it. Where was it?
Is it one of your quirks or?
Oh no, it's it's a whatchamacallit, Virtue Wily. Activate your virtue to escape danger from the current scene. You cannot rescue anyone but yourself. So if I'm activating a virtue, do I spend a hero point for that, or do I get one?
No, you just spend it.
Okay.
You can only do it once per thing.
Oh, so it doesn't cost me a hero point, but I spend it?
It doesn't cost you a hero point. I think you just activate it, and you can only activate it once per session.
Cool.
So tell me what that looks like.
I think what that looks like is that they're distracted, but probably they're going to turn on me again, and I end up doing this running slide where I go between their legs and out the door, and I'm gone.
Okay, so in a non-combat way, you guys create massive chaos. 12 guards, and we've got the boss guy up there, and they are rushing around, and you two will slip out and run, hit the stairs, a dumbwaiter or whatnot, and you two are clear and free. So let's come to the combat sequence.
But we probably have this last look of like, wait, where's Zim and Kava? As we're walking out.
Right. Okay, I gotta quickly do this. So 4 and 1. I'm getting the raises. I'm doing the raises for my guys here. Okay. All right. So the way this works with the combat sequence is we start at the highest number of raises. And that's going to be you, Maria.
All right.
So we've got 2 brute squads. Essentially a group of about 12 men broke up in 2 groups, plus this leader type. So on count 6, what do you want to do?
I want to use stare down if I can. Spend a hero point to intimidate a character into backing down from a threat, letting you into somewhere he shouldn't, or otherwise getting out of my way.
Okay. So who are you doing that to, and what do you want to have happen?
I think I'm just staring down one of the brute squads and basically using my position to let them know that I just beat up 4 guards by myself.
Okay.
Well, kind of by myself. Her sword is not bloody stained, so yeah.
If you spend that hero point, I will say that they're not going to be removed from the scene, but they will back off, so they're not going to attack at all this turn. Does that seem fair?
That is fair.
Okay. And then That isn't an action. That's just a free thing you can do. So what is your action on 6?
My action, I will use my duelist style, the fishy's leap, to leap behind them.
Okay.
And that deals damage equal to my athletics, which is 3.
Okay. And are you doing that? Who do you want to deal that to? To the other brute squad or to the boss?
Do I know the strength of the brute squads and the boss?
Brute squads are both strength 6. Boss is also strength 6.
I will do it to the boss.
Okay. I think he doesn't go until 4. I'm not going to spend to defend on that. So he will take those wounds. Essentially, you come over and is it that you hit him or you kick him or what is it? Is it just that you shock him?
It says the leap is a sudden high jump that allows you to leap over or around your target's guard, regardless of your weapon. And these wounds cannot be prevented on top of that. So
awesome. So that was you on 6.
Yes, and let me see how many races does that cost. I think it's just 1.
Cost 1.
Yeah.
Now we go to 5. What do you do on 5?
Oh, I'm still up. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be you, and then we'll go to Steven on 4, and you on 4, and then them on 4.
I'm behind the big guard, the guard leader. So I'm gonna. And who has Taha? Him?
He has hot Taha.
So I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the first guard. So I'm gonna grab him by the pressure points of the neck and basically force him down.
Okay, do you want to do this as a maneuver? So is that we call it a lunge or a slash or a bash? What are you doing here?
Let me check the maneuvers.
Sure.
I think that is going to be it's going to be a slash. So
okay.
It's not weaponry because it's barehanded. So it's in brawl.
Yep.
I have 3 points in brawl, so that knocks him out. Correct?
No, because he's a villain.
Okay.
That actually takes him to his first dramatic wound.
Oh, okay. So what does the strength 6 mean?
It means that it takes 6 wounds to deal a dramatic wound to him.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So that was on 5. 4. What do you do on 4, Kava?
I am going to do my Mubaris Dune shock on the guard captain. So okay. I reach behind me. I pull out the sword. It seems to appear from nowhere, and I move forward, swinging the sword overhead, and I just smash him in the chest with a sound like a thunderclap.
Okay. And you have 2 ranks in Intimidate, right?
Yes. Yes, and that does 1 wound.
Okay. So that will hit him, and that does the brute squad that's still up, and the captain are kind of stunned by that. So they will be doing less wounds on their thing. Maria on 4.
Zev on 4 is going to leap back into the fray using my 1 race to do the same maneuver I did before.
Okay.
Basically, the fish's leap to get into the rest of the guards group. But the damage is gonna be on the guard captain still.
Still on the guard captain. Okay. So that will take him down to that. So it went down. So he's at that. Okay. And on 4, the other brute squad would go, but you intimidated them. You spent that hero point. They're out of the scene.
Okay, cool.
We stepped down to 3 because my guys rolled like ass.
Amazing.
Right? Let's start with you. You've done that shock. You've hit this captain. He's gotten smacked as your brawler has parkoured up over him in the room. What do you want to do now, Kava?
Okay, so there's 1 brute squad left in action. Their strength 6, so I have to deal 6 wounds to take them out. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm just gonna go all out. I'm going to do a lunge at the brute squad. which uses up all my remaining actions, and it does a total of 6 wounds.
Tell me what that looks like when you lean into this brute squad.
I mean, it looks like my sword is just flashing back and forth. I am knocking. Right, it's like a whirling dervish. I am in the middle of them. It's swinging all around. They are all down.
Okay, they're down. They go flying. There's screams as they go flying, and you'll hear Taha's like, whoa, 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 shocked by the sudden fury and blood splatter in here. Maria on 3.
Okay, since the guard captain has done nothing and everyone else is down, I'm gonna Kava is dealing with all that shit. I suddenly come out of fucking nowhere and basically kick the guard captain in the face using my lunge.
Okay, how much damage does that do?
So it's my remaining races, which I think are 3, plus my weaponry, or in this case, brawl. So it's 6 total.
6 total. Oh my god. He's down to 2 wounds left. On his action, I think discretion is the better part of valor for him. So he is going to fall back and throws Taha at you guys, and runs away. He's seen his guards go down under your blades, and he has no desire to be chopped up like that, and so he will take off.
Even though he didn't take any blade damage, it was purely just
his nose. He's gotten kicked. He's bleeding, from his face. This is like nothing he's ever seen before. Dishonorable curs, and he will run. And Taha is like, what? Where did you learn to do that?
Things got tough after you were gone, Taha. There was a lot of fighting.
He looks down at his not exactly friends, but his peers, who are laid out on the floor. He goes, "We should go. We should get out of here."
Definitely, and I swing this. I swing the sword. It looks like a completely reckless swing, but it slices his bonds precisely.
Is
okay.
he injured?
Could have just untied it, but okay.
Is it injured? He
is fine. The captain is behind you. You see that he's brushing his beard. He goes, "Yes, we should probably go now, right?"
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna check if anyone's injured beforehand, like any of the prisoners that ran away, or the captain, or anyone.
They look like they've been malnourished, but
Okay.
that's the kind of thing that you can't really treat here.
Yeah.
So we can cut to you rushing out with the prisoners out into the street, into the night, and you probably go back through those secret passages and make your way out. So we see that little rush. What is the sequence of Rashawn and Messina getting out of here?
I imagine we probably end up ducking into various rooms as guards are running by to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you calmly walk out?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll cut to the meeting place. What is the meeting place, Messina?
I think the meeting place is this little workshop on some back street where they do like metal work and stuff like that. So you go in there and it's hot there's the sounds of like pounding metal and all that from the workers, and then there's like the back room, which is kind of where we know a guy who knows a guy kind of thing.
I'm gonna spend my hero point to make it my cousin.
Ah, that's your
Perfect.
cousin? Absolutely. Ah, it's
There you
you
go.
again. Yes, yes, come in. Yes, get the back room ready for you for your secret meetings. Okay. He's brought out tea and a bread and all of that has been served out for you. Taha is still kind of speechless. Kava, is like, is the village still there?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a lot smaller than it was. They burned down a bunch of the buildings, and they took all the artifacts from the shrine. I mean, not like I don't think any of them were real, but
and he's kind of in that sort of shock of all of this, of seeing a familiar face, of being broken out from his sort of semi-captivity there.
Right.
And the captain is there, Mosina.
And I think on the way back there, I was probably telling Rashawn that we still, I mean, we left the captain there. We knew he was there, and we left him there. And right as I'm saying that, I walk in, and he's right there, and I'm like, probably speechless.
And I think Rashawn's gonna like push you from behind so that you like run to like push you towards him.
I think it's one of those things. When it was on the pirate ship, it was Messina had feelings for the captain, but never ever would dare act on them. That was just, no, you don't do that. And I think with that nudge, she probably goes up and gives him a huge hug.
Because Rashawn is an incurable romantic, so he couldn't have it any other way.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
A very, very good, Lieutenant. Very good. Good to see you. Awkward hug. Good to see you as well. Very, very good. Yes.
And then kind of we both back off and straighten our outfits, and kind of like the that just happened.
And there will be sort of a pause in the conversation there, and I think that's where we can stop off, except that you have something for Zev.
Yeah, I think I noticed the text that Roshana is carrying, and I asked for them since I want them. They are Yahidi texts, sacred texts. May I have them?
Well, how would you know that? Oh, because you're saying when I pulled them out to show what I found.
Yeah, I guess.
Her eyes get wide.
I thought these were magical. I thought these were for the sorcerer.
They are magical. They're also Yahidi sacred texts.
They're yours?
Not technically mine, but I am going to get a translator. They are they were how do I put it? They were lost. They were thought to be lost.
And of course, her husband goes through and goes, "Oh, Yahidi texts." You see him lean over and start reading them. Oh yeah.
Is he the translator? Because that would actually would actually be the entirety of my goal.
I know.
That's step 4.
You spent your hero point. Cousin has to be the translator then.
All right, then I guess I get miracle worker now.
Yes.
And so is that the stolen? That's not the stolen item I was looking for, though.
No.
That's okay.
The stolen item that I was looking for.
But do you think that actually makes sense, Christo?
Yeah.
That you is there an item that was stolen that you returned to the rightful owner?
I did, but that's not what I was looking for, right? So I guess maybe that's not. If it's meant to be a story arc for my character, then no, that wouldn't be it. And I'm okay with that. That's fine.
No, I think you should definitely take it.
Nah, I think I'll wait for the brooch of second glance.
Okay. So what that means is, Maria, you would have completed your story.
Yes.
You would get your reward. Stephen, do you think that you're able to convince Taha to come with you?
I mean, I think so. It sounds like his employment situation. He's not going to go back to that job.
Oh no.
So yeah. I mean, I can get him work as a caravan guard. That's no problem. And we can get a long way from here. Which.
Do you think you find the scar romantic or an unpleasant reminder?
Yeah, I mean, I think I find it's like I feel that it sort of detracts from his attractiveness a little bit because he's not a very good fighter to get a scar like that. But look, I'm going to be around. I can protect him.
Okay, that sounds perfect. So you would get your story completed, and you would get that special ability, the reward there, and you rescued the captain there, Musina, right?
Yeah, inadvertently, yes.
As long as it gets done.
As long as it gets done, it worked.
Yeah. So you would get the student of combat talent then.
Okay.
Okay, because they get there are 3 steps of your story.
Cool.
And that's what we would take up next time. You have a lead on the Faceless and the caravan that he's pursuing, and we can rewrite some stories. Does that seem cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Stephen, thank you for coming and sitting in tonight.
Oh, thank you. I was glad to see a spot open up because I've been wanting to try 7C, and I mean, not only could I not get into this game originally, but I ordinarily have classes on Thursday nights. So I was really glad that it happened to just line up on the one Thursday this month when I do not have a class.
Well, it's a little taste of the system. This is actually the first time I've run it before, but I've never actually gotten to the experience stories. That's always been a mechanic I've kind of haven't gotten to. So I'm glad to do that. So I appreciate that. Do you guys mind doing Roses and Thorns like real quick?
I don't mind.
I would like to do that. Let me start with Victor then, if you don't mind,
Sure.
on the Thorn side.
On the Thorn side, it ended up working out by the end of the session, but it was kind of odd. All 4 of us went completely different directions. And I was like, okay, how are we going to get like some of us back together? So I'm like trying to come up with ways of. So it was just kind of we all kind of took off for our own goals, which
It worked out.
kind of had me a little worried at the beginning.
No, I think that's fair.
But yeah.
As worried as I was, believe me, there is always that balance of player autonomy versus I'd like to herd the cats a little. So yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Stephen, Thorns?
Yeah, the same thing as Victor. It's sort of like, okay, once I accomplish my goal, it's like, how do I find my way back to the other people? And I was sort of afraid that I might end up spinning my wheels, but it worked out.
Well,
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Because it's a more trad game, I think it does have those situations of splitting people apart. There aren't mechanisms that easily do the wipes to get people back together. So yeah, I can see that. Maria?
My thorn would be the way the story experience stories turned out to be, because it like felt like too quick for that. But maybe you wanted that to resolve the story so we can get to the next story within the 4 sessions we have. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and that may be a thing. It may feel very different in an actual campaign play. I wanted to get a tight story that I knew we could do do really fast at the start, and put them all together, and then give you guys a chance. So, so yeah, I can see that, and I don't think it's a great. I don't know, having done this, what I think of it yet. I think it's it's an artificial version of it.
Or maybe spacing them out so they overlapped instead of like all at once, like all together.
Yeah, I think for experience, as an experience system, it's a bit weird because you kind of have to work towards it, and you know what the steps are. In a trap game, that's fine, but like as a semi-indie game, I would prefer something like, I want to say Keys from Lady Blackbird.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting in that it says to the GM, "This is the story that I want. This is I mean, it's a really strong flag." Which
they're
is,
flags.
Which is different from trad and different from the sort of flexibility of the indie stuff. So I'm not sure.
It makes me think of Burning Wheel Beliefs.
Okay.
Where it's this is where I want my character to go. I am going down this road.
Yeah.
And you're telling the GM, this is the road I want you to put like all the stuff on.
Yeah. And it certainly is that.
Except less flexible, because it tells you exactly what road you want to take. Instead, unlike Beliefs, where it's like, I want you to challenge my
still
belief.
vague. Right. Yeah. Right.
Christo, Thorns?
The only thing I think might be sort of thorn or a wish, if you will. I'm thinking of the character sheets, the character keepers. It might be useful if there's some way to mark, because we only get is it in a session we only get to use one of the combinations at a time? If we had,
it was
in a scene.
Oh, it's in a scene. Oh, okay.
And I was thinking that thing as well. How do I remember which one I used if it's been a few minutes since?
And here's what it is. It's essentially, it's the first time you've used that skill in a particular scene.
Right. Okay.
That's the thing. And given that we don't do that many rolls, it
wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, but I could see where it could be, especially if the GM were calling for a lot of rolls.
Yeah, if we ended up in a big combat scene or something like that where we had to do multiple rolls.
Yeah.
And even in combat scenes, it was more like it was literally just one roll from everyone.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Well, I think that we were lucky because I remember previous combat scenes.
We were lucky that rolled so shittily this time.
I really did know.
Like, holy fuck, you didn't get. Yeah. You only got like a 3 and a 4, and then the one I got a 4 on, I intimidated already.
Yeah.
I had a 4 from one brute squad. I had a 1 on 6 dice from the other brute squad, and I had a 3 from the boss. So
Amazing.
it was not great. So I'm still getting used to the system. I think there are some. I'm still getting used to the facing of the rolls. I got to get that under control better. About what the stakes are, and I think when we got to that scene with the in upstairs, the 4th room with the 2 brute squads, and that was really messy, and that's on me. For me, that I felt like I dragged that out, the resolution of that, where if I had slowed down and really gotten your attention, stated clearly, I could have done that much more quickly, but I didn't. Roses, Victor, roses.
2, 1 game related. My brother backed the game, so I know I'm gonna end up being the one that runs it because he doesn't really run games, and it's nice getting to play it. So I'm liking that. And then the other is I love Maria's wall.
Yes, that is great.
I love the video game look on the wall, but yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Stephen, any roses?
I liked how. It felt like the characters' stories were woven together well. It felt like we were all sort of working in the same direction, even though we had the different stories.
Yeah, I like that. You guys bought into that well, and that felt good because you guys leaned into that really well. Maria, any roses?
I think for a dread game, this is actually pretty cool. My roses to the system for being a sort of in between hard dread and indie.
Would you say that it's trendy
Trendy, yes.
or Tredindle or anyway?
I wish there was a hack that actually gives you more supernatural shit, so I can run Godbound Exalted shit.
I think it'd be super easy to do.
Yeah.
I think it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably would be.
Christo, roses?
It's a little slow with the the coming up with the trait and the skill and then the raises, and sometimes it feels a little contrived with the raises after a little bit. Like it feels like I need to move on to a different trait already because it doesn't. I've moved someplace else or I'm doing something else and I need to switch, but I can't because those are the traits I rolled.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little awkward, but I really like the way, sort of like what the Veil does with emotions, where it forces you to think, what is my character feeling at this time? This forces you to think through, how can I use these traits and describe them in the fiction to get that extra die? So it drives you to describe what your character is doing in an interesting way, which I really like.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're trying to not repeat something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
I agree with Christo in that it's awkward when you have like for example, when I used only one of my races on Brawl, and that the time I used Brawl the first time, I only used one race to actually, or no, I used two, I think.
Yeah.
But I got like 4 races, and the other 2 weren't really Brawl related. So
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and to tell you the truth, the technical way the game works is if you do that approach, and then you do things that are kind of off tangent, it's supposed to cost you more raises, which you could do. But I just like you guys are generating currency. We're playing through your skills, and we're playing that out. So I'm looser than I think the RAW rules as written are on that. I want to say my rose is sort of the inverse to what Victor said. Is I was super nervous early on about, okay, we've gone all in these different directions, and you guys worked to pull it together. You stuck with it, playing separate. And then you were okay when I moved you to go together, and you moved yourselves together, and that felt really good.
I see. I actually had no doubt we were going to get back together because I figured with the 3 of us in the house, it surprised me when Zev walked off, but I got why, because that was something. Okay, why are they over there? Yeah, we need to find out. But the 3 of us in the one house, I thought one of us is going to do something that's going to cause a lot of noise, and the other 2 are going to know that they need to react to that. So I was pretty confident we'd get back together. I
also was trusted that Zev would roll better tonight, because last night in the Blades in the Dark game, the die roller.
Oh god, no. I literally stressed out, not even halfway through the score, so I was out for literally most of the session.
Yeah. Took a trauma right away.
No. That I'm still salty.
I would be, that was a terrible night for rolling. Anyway, thank you guys very much. I'm going to stop the recording. And we will say goodbye to this.